about again? Because you texted me and you said, let's talk. And I said, like, sure, let's
I
talk.
know. Yeah, let's talk.
I don't
So
know.
let's
Nothing is
let,
happening. What do we need
well,
to talk about? Like, is
not
there
true.
anything happening in the world?
Yeah, well,
Absolutely nothing. Complete boredom.
let's talk about what I sent to you. I think that's a good place to start. The reaction
Please.
of all this kind of Israel is dragging America into a war is kind of
Oh, you
nonsense.
sent me
It's like,
that?
yeah, this denial of, like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
even I think talking about. I also wrote an article about the Operation Desert Storm, and how that this attack, this military joint venture has gone 30% of the way for making up for what they did to us on Operation Desert Storm, where we were attacked with Scud missiles and we had to sit in the back and cower in fear over these absolute lunatics who had attacked us. Why? Why did you not use the strongest army in the Middle East to go after Saddam Hussein? Oh, because it might have hurt the teeny
Alex, wait. You're talking about things I don't remember.
Oh, well, no, it was just okay on Operation
I like
Desert.
you talk about it with passion, and I wanna relate to you, but I honestly, I don't remember those times like at all.
So it was.
It's a bit too.
No,
Anyway,
I think
but let's talk about the church first. I think it's important. I think
okay,
this
fine,
is,
but so I'm
used it on
actually
my.
just gonna send to you,
And then I'm gonna let you vent because I
no,
was the one
here.
doing that yesterday.
I'm
But you
sending this to
clearly
you.
have like a much longer, like you accumulated like some.
I sent you the
for a
article.
longer time.
I sent you the article that I
Than
wrote about Operation Desert Storm, and I think it's something to really to think about. It's not just me who's saying it,
What I remember from Operations Desert Storm is that, what was his name?
Saddam Hussein.
He gave like no, not Saddam Hussein. On the American side, they gave like a badge of no.
It was George Bush Senior.
No, I know. No. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about one of they gave like a special thank you badge to the Israelis for the operation after they condemned it for a decade before.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah,
okay.
I mean, I'm more just
Okay. Listen. Okay, so Alex, I'm gonna warn the audience. I'm gonna be rude with you specifically and interrupt you because you assume people know way more than they do.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you just start like saying things and like dropping information, but you expect people to know like a lot before you.
Okay.
So without explaining. Not even what's Desert Storm, what's nothing. It's like
okay, fine.
so it's like
I'm used to an audience that is very
it's weird.
Entrenched. It's weird.
Did you see okay, I'll tell you why, because I jumped into what's his name, Charlie Kirk's stream last night. I had some time to kill between everything I had to say and the time that this is not healthy for you, girl. I'm gonna tell my dad.
Cigarettes.
I'll tell my dad, and he will call you and explain for like an hour, 2 hours.
No.
How bad it is. My dad is a doctor, and I heard that lecture so many times in my life.
I know,
but my mind a little bit,
Rebecca, you have to understand that I gave up smoking a pack
I'm
of cigarettes
I'm sending you your number to my dad right now, and I am telling him texting
I
him
also
to give
have
you a
doctors
lecture.
in my family. And
I say my dad is like Georgian and he's scary.
Okay.
When he wants to scare you, is very good.
My grandfather's Ukrainian. I'm named after him.
No, that's not at all the same. No, Georgian. No, come on. We Georgians are known for breeding dictators like Erdogan and
for
Stalin.
Breakfast?
Oh my God! Of course.
Okay. So
literally, we're talking about people who dance with a knife between their teeth.
But really, really, really read what I wrote because it's very important. It's not just
I
stum, you know. I sent you
I
another
know, I
one.
read it. No,
No,
another
the
one?
second one. Yeah, I sent the second one.
Oh, the second one, I'll read it, but not like now. It would be a bit. So, yeah, anyway, I'm gonna send your number with an
Yalla.
instruction to give you a lecture to my dad. And then
Okay.
I'm gonna stop you from time to time, every time you assume that people should know something. And third, I'm gonna start with the church because this is what I used in the
Yalla.
thumbnail. But
Okay,
before that,
fine.
I
So,
was also
do
gonna
you have an
say,
article? Do you have an
okay,
article
so
that links
I
to
was
the
in the
church?
middle of story of exciting, like
Uh-huh.
heartbreaking, like breathtaking story, talking about how
Mhm.
that I had between like when I finished my rant about how I feel about America joining in, which was clear that they would do. Like there is no way they would not join such a glorious party. Like you think there is a chance that America would see like Israel being like glorified and America would be like, wait, what about
Yeah, I
America?
mean, yeah, exactly. They.
America.
Oh, we're live. You know that we're
So
live.
easy to read. Oh my god, that's like and like when I made tweets saying like there is like how come America wouldn't want to join the party? Like it's a
Mhm.
party. And like everybody like it's not a party. I'm like
Do
it's a
you know that
party.
we're
You need
live,
to
Rebecca?
if you
Do you?
understand American mindset, you understand like this is joining a party. You want to join the fun. Come on.
Okay, fine, fine. I didn't
And
even know we
then
were live,
and
guys.
but
So.
okay. And just so you know, so I had time between my rant and like
Mhm.
sharing my feelings with the world and the
Mhm.
time that Trump went and gave his amazing speech. America,
Mhm.
God bless America, which I love. I love. Um, the the what I did was to spy on others.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes, it's like I asked them if like so I went and I clicked on people who were doing streaming live. And like
Mhm.
I give an example, like Charlie Kirk, and I think I didn't do it yesterday, but like Tim Pool, like they
Mhm.
explain all the like they go through all the details. It's like, do you know that when the Iranians when they talk about retaliation, they actually might send suicide bombers? And I was thinking, wow, see, this is how you talk to a good like this is why they're popular and they have 50,000 viewers because even if you don't know anything, they're like, yes, so suicide bombers is actually one of the first examples of like suicide bombing. By the way, this is considered modern jihad because I think it was the Muslim Brotherhood that is from the 1920s that had written a fatwa that committing suicide to take others with you is a valid form of jihad. Before that, it was mostly like fight
Mhm.
to kill and be killed, and like it needs to be like. But like they so apparently this is part of modern jihad. And he, of course, obviously, he didn't talk about it. Not that I saw. I'm just saying that because I had that conversation with somebody who is a modern scholar, and it was very
Mhm.
interesting to hear her take because she was like, no, there is actually a lot of like developments in jihad. So you have the original jihad, which is like you have hijras, which is migrating and fighting in a battle, and then it's like
Mhm.
and then there's the modern jihad, which also includes suicide bombing and other tactics that it's like they expand, they learn, they like they adapt. People say that Muslims do not adapt to the modern world, but clearly they do. Anyway,
Mhm.
um so that is something that he talked about. Like, so one of the big suicide bombing incidents was of course in the Hezbollah. They by like which is an organization that Iran built from the ground up. uh I think he said like they killed a lot, like hundreds of, like how many was it, 200 and something that they killed
Yeah, I
in
mean, yeah,
in
yeah.
in in Lebanon, in
In
Beirut.
Beirut, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they
And
also
then he
had a
had to explain those
global.
things. I mean, like you see, Alex, this is the problem. Like we have to be understand, like, and you have to be shocked at every stage. You'll be like, can you imagine that also includes like suicide bombing? Oh my god! And then they do a dramatic pause, and the all panel was like, wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow. How you thought about, like, how did you figure? Oh my, you're right. You're right. Oh my god. And then like everybody's feeling smart, and the people in the comments are like, I'm so smart, I guessed it.
Uh,
And
what is
this
the
is
world
how
come
you
to?
get 50,000 people that have a good, like, 190 IQ follow
Mhm.
you because they feel good about themselves. And I
Yeah.
mean, it's not that I generally believe like they're not pretending, like, you know.
Mhm.
Honestly speaking.
I mean, I think it's a sad
It's
indictment of
so funny
America.
anyway. Too. It was like, mm-hmm. Yes, suicide bombing. That's another option. Yes, there are many ways to retaliate. They have sleepers. Yes, yes. Wow, wow, wow.
So is that really it? That American foreign policy is going to be dictated by 15-year-olds who are brainwashed and have suicide vests strapped to themselves and are told to walk into the middle of, I don't know, shopping malls? That is what is going to, that is what Tim Pool really thinks is going to dictate American foreign policy. Oh, we're so scared. So any piece of shit country can come and just threaten you
Sweetie,
with
that was
these
Charlie Kirk.
tactics.
I didn't check Tim Pool
Oh,
this
sorry,
time.
Charlie Kirk.
Tim
I'm
Pool,
sorry. Okay.
I don't know. Like, I don't wanna lashon hara. I don't wanna talk shit about people I didn't check, right? So we can talk shit about Tim Pool and other matters because it
Mm.
wasn't that he, yeah,
Well,
it
I'm
was
sure he's not great on this. It's also just the level of kind of self-deception that you have to engage in order to collude with these ideas that are truly conspiratorial. And more than that, I just think it's like a half-baked kind of theory that we're talking about here. I mean, like, I don't know. I haven't seen anything that has resembled decent analysis come out from even like the pro-Israel Americans. It's very disappointing. Um, and what do you expect? This is
you
this is
know
the end
what?
result
Can
of
you
appeasing.
imagine if one person in the panel would be like, wow, and if the brainwashing machine that is being lubricated with Iranian oil money and Qatari oil money continues, not only that we would see like suicide bombers, that suicide bomber is going to probably be your child. And then I would want to see like their whoa, like, you know, they all go whoa, 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 like for an hour and like expanding on that idea, but actually saying the same thing for an hour, and everybody whoa, whoa, whoa. Which
Yeah.
is true. This is where it's going, right? Like the people have to understand it. Like it's not gonna be a random 15-year-old suicide bomber. It's gonna be your own child that is brainwashed into thinking because they know you think they don't know how to do it. They convince your children that there is nothing to live for. That war world, whatever is coming, that climate change is gonna come, that you know, that it's coming and you're gonna die out of like yeah, like the scorching sun will like boil your skin and you're gonna like have like those bubbles all over, and this is how people
Yeah.
will live. And like they believe it. They are kids. They're kids. They believe those things, and then they
It's not that
genuinely
far from
feel like that
reality,
there's
though, is
nothing
it?
to live for, and they genuinely believe there is no hope.
Hmm.
And then they go and like it's what they do, right? And it's like it's so um and it's like so important to actually continue stressing that the civilization comes from the
Hmm.
Middle East, like the whole concept of having civilization. The first cities, the first agriculture, everything comes from this area. And look at these people now, like several generations down the road. being infected with parasitic, destructive, death cult ideas, committing mass suicide in droves. They're not less intelligent. In fact, I would say they're probably more intelligent, considering their ancestors had way more culture than European ancestry did.
Maybe. It's really hard. I mean, I don't know. It's also okay. Like, I kind of earlier on today. I don't know if you want to talk about
Wait.
this.
I want to share Shana because it's funny. And I want to say before it loses relevance, Georgians are the people Ukrainians see in their nightmares. Thank you, Shana. Thank you, Shana. Exactly.
Well,
exactly. Love you.
Well, I didn't
Okay.
even know we were live when I said that. I'm feeling bad that I insulted Grandpa Sasha, who I'm named after. You know, I really feel I feel bad that he could take your grandfather on. He could take your father on, Rebecca. Don't even think twice about it.
Oh,
So
you wanna compare grandparents
yeah,
now? Okay,
yeah,
I'll
I
bring
do.
mine. Mine,
I
you
do.
know, my
I
my
do.
Georgian
I
grand.
do. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, let's go. Mine was
Mine
he was
survived the Ukrainian Holocaust. Mine survived
you
the
know
Holodomor, the famine. I don't. They ate like
my
shoes.
well, my grandpa was how is it called? You know, like weightlifter. And here's the thing: he served in the Red Army, and he was like, you know,
Of
and the
course he
food
did.
was shit. And if the food was shit and everything was
Oh,
crap. And he noticed that if you get sick, you get to rest. And they feed you with something that is a little bit more edible. So what he did, it was like minus 40 degrees outside. He took like a skipping rope, started skipping in the snow. And he was like, and people are like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm getting sick.
yeah. Well, yeah.
He didn't get
That works
sick.
out.
He stayed healthy. He was like, no, I wanted vacation. It looks so much fun to be in the hospital.
So I just want to say for the people that are watching this, look at me and Rebecca. Look at what we're doing. Look at what we're saying to each other. We're laughing. We're having fun. We're joking around in the middle of the war, you know? And I just want to say I think that is the true spirit of the Israeli people. Here I am. I'm in Yerushalayim, in the center where I've lived for a long time. We're happy. I'm happy. I feel very positive about the outlook, you know, of the future, far more than I did a year ago. And I feel more positive about my outlook than I did a week ago. And I don't know about you, Rebecca. So this is the real spirit of the Israeli people. That Rebecca thinks that her grandfather, her Georgian grandfather, can beat up my grandfather, which is obviously a big lie. You know, Red Army or no Red Army. I think that we can just settle this right now. Okay. But this is the spirit of the Israeli people. We are
All right.
resilient, really resilient.
Anyway, my grandpa will win. I will not let the conversation end with the statement that yours will. It will continue until we settle on.
Yeah, until we finally have the dates for the showdown.
Here is a question for Shauna. Can Israel destroy the nuclear data and expertise, and how?
What do you think, Rebecca? Okay. Okay, so I have a couple of theories about this. So, in dictatorial regimes, and especially in armies in the Middle East, and also in kind of government institutions, it's so top down that you don't have a lot of sharing of information. So, because you know, the more qualified and the more intelligent you are, the more kind of a threat you might typically be to the regime, or you might be to other people. So you don't tend to have this passing on of knowledge and this passing on of information like we do in the West. Like if you kill the general in Israel, then the brigadier general, okay, is going to be, is going to get a promotion and be put in his place. In top down armies, in top down military institutions, you simply don't have this kind of infrastructure. So I think that by eliminating the scientists, I really think that you can send a tremendous amount of, you can go back in time, 10 years, 15 years. And also, you also have to remember who on earth is going to want to be a nuclear scientist in Iran. That's also something to keep in mind. But in terms of the physical stuff, I don't know, Rebecca, what do you think?
I don't know if it's possible now, but like there are too many, the world is too big and small at the same time. Also, I think I'm pretty sure like they have a completely different life standards for those who are scientists. Like they don't usually keep, like they can usually talk shit and do whatever they want and say, like, and be as, they probably don't have any free speech limitations on them. At least that's how it was in the USSR. It was like, if you want creativity, if you want people to do science, then you have to let them speak. And even Stalin was like, okay, fine, let them speak. And they talked, and they cursed Stalin all day, all night. But, for such a noble cause, they are extremely, like, surprisingly, yeah.
I also think it's interesting that if you think about, there was a nuclear scientist called Fakhrizadeh. I can't really pronounce these Persian names, but it is said from the Israeli articles that have been written on this subject that we were so deeply embedded with him that we went to sleep with him, we woke up with him, we shaved with him, we were with him when he kissed his wife, when he went to bed. That we were
how
even
disgusting it is to be the person who says all those things.
Yeah, I mean, that we even didn't know should we kill him, because it's like, should we even bother killing him? I mean, we are him. We're so entwined. And so I think that also is something I love, because I just imagine the paranoia, and it does give me like a sense of delight, thinking about their paranoia, and just us living rent free in these assholes' heads. It's wonderful.
Well, I want to say something. So Meadow says, I'm Egyptian cardiologist. So my dad is also cardiologist. So I think maybe we can like see how you, can you explain to Alex here that smoking is really bad for you, but like do it in like a very like assertive, I'm a cardiologist tone for this girl to understand. I think if we have a doctor in the crowd, then we should take this opportunity. I mean,
Okay.
I can also get my dad cardiologist to do that, but I mean, if we have someone here, then please explain that that vaping is very bad for your health. To Alex here, thank you. Yes, powerful, very powerful, indeed powerful. I don't know what was that about, but all right, that's it. That's the moment of. All right, do you know?
Alex is not going to rage quit, Brigitte. Alex would not do such a thing. Okay, Alex would never. Alex is far too polite for that.
Somebody wrote that somebody would like you do. No. So if you live in Israel, especially if you're from the eastern side, which Alex is not, especially if you come from like former like Georgian and stuff, first of all, like you should be thick-skinned, because if you gain weight, they're gonna say, oh, you're fat, or like, oh, you gain weight, right? Like and then like get into your like why you're still smoking every
Mhm.
single time. And it's getting better, I think, because like they're adapting to more Western culture, where it's like you first ask how you're doing, and then you start making comments on somebody and on someone's health choices. But yeah,
Yeah. So wait, so do you want to talk about what I was writing to you earlier, or do you want to have a
I
talk
want to
about the
go
church?
through. What do you know about the attack in on the church?
So, according to the Kurdistan press, the Kurdish press, it was a suicide attacker affiliated with Daesh. But I don't know. I don't know. I find it hard. I find it hard to. I don't. I mean, it's not impossible to believe. I suppose it's just not the culprit that I would have immediately thought of. Or maybe it could also be. I mean, the Iranians getting involved with Daesh is a little bit far fetched, but I don't. I feel the Iranians are involved here. You know, it's them who have been pushing this narrative about Christian massacres in Syria, and this is a real Christian massacre that occurred. But they also had a very at the same time as they had the kind of the Alawite revolt, and they had the massacres there, they were also pushing a narrative that was straight out of Tehran, that there was also a Christian massacre that was going on. And it was this attempt to kind of delegitimize the current Syrian regime. To sort of say, like, look at how bad it is. They're massacring the Christians. Wouldn't it be better if we were back? You know, wouldn't it be better if we were in town? We could kind of, it's Iranian kind of disinformation, and you know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's Syria, so nothing really would surprise me here. But
Yeah, we can also even think maybe it's Turkey that feeling like it's losing its grip.
well, I mean, Turkey even having any grip whatsoever in Syria is also kind of it's also kind of
Yeah, but
laughable.
like that's what they were counting on.
Yeah, yeah, but
And I think a lot of the ISIS attacks are Turkey.
potentially, yeah, wouldn't surprise me either. But the Turks don't have a lot of friends. They're really quite, if you want to think about it, they're quite a pathetic regime that if they were to go to war, for example, against Israel, who else would join them? They don't have any
NATO.
friends. Yeah, I mean, yeah, even then, I
NATO
don't.
is supposed to be joining them. That's the thing.
I mean, I doubt it. I seriously, as anti-Semitic and horrible as those countries are, I don't see them joining in an attack against Israel
Yeah,
anytime soon.
also doubt
Anyway,
it.
um,
Maybe yeah.
yeah, but they're because like
Wait,
they're
I
not
want
gonna,
to
the
share
Turks
some.
don't have a lot of friends
Oh shit.
in Syria. You know, it's
You know what I did? I did something smart. I changed
go
the view
ahead.
on the screen before I shared what I want to share. Yeah, continue. Please ignore me. Yeah, continue your story, please.
Oh, I don't really have a story. I was just saying I'm not con- I'm just not sure that if I really think about, the kind of the Turks' interests, I think that they spread their love around quite a lot with anybody who will kind of take them, that they want to put their bets everywhere. They want to put their bets on Russia. They want to put their bets on Ukraine. Ukraine and Turkey have a really quite a tight relationship. The Ukraine was
Yeah.
deeply involved in Syria, deeply involved, even together with ISIS in some instances, right? But they also want to throw their weight around with NATO. They also want to throw around their weight with the United States. Why not throw their weight around with because they don't have any friends. They're more of an aberration than Israel, in my opinion. Yeah, in this area, they're more of an aberration than Israel.
Because I was about to say, that's the fate of land bridges, which we are.
Well, because they're also not
This is
Muslim
like
brothers.
when you're a land bridge, everybody like
Yeah,
you're
they're on the invasion
they are land bridge,
superhighway.
and we are as well. Yes,
They're on the invasion
exactly.
superhighway. That's what they're in. They're just Turkey's just a country you just have to get over, right, in order to get to the good stuff. It's unfortunate for them.
Right.
Yeah. They're also not Muslim
Read the
brothers, which is
screen,
also a
girl.
huge problem. Okay, sorry. It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be regime change? Make Iran great again. Well, I mean, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
Any thoughts?
I really, I think it's good to throw the idea out there, right? It's just kind of what you want, what you see the end result of that actually being, because it would not be a good idea to throw Iran into a civil war or an ethnic conflict that it's in for the next 20 years, right? That's not a good thing. I
But
think a
so this
military
is
coup
how
could
I
be
know
on
you
the
didn't watch
table.
my videos.
I
This
did.
is how I
I
know
did.
you didn't watch you did.
Oh, I did.
So you
Yeah,
should
yeah,
know
yeah.
that it's
I did.
gonna go to, so there is gonna be a civil war if there isn't a regime change.
Well, I think okay, so
That's my
according to
claim.
what I've seen on
So
Twitter,
I think it's gonna be 100% civil war if there isn't a regime change. And if there is, then it's gonna be like 80%.
I see more of a military rebellion because they haven't paid the salaries of the soldiers in quite a long time, and they're complaining about that quite a lot. So I could really see a military coup or a rebellion within the military that could do it, and that would at least be bloodless for the people. And it might not result in this massive, destabilization that we would see. That we don't
So
want.
actually,
We don't wish on the Iranian people.
yeah, but I don't know if you saw that, like the comments I made. They have like severe mismanagement
Of their
issues,
water.
and they have water, but like now the city of Erbil, like they don't have food, so they surrounded the city. They blocked it completely
Yeah.
because the people there inside are starving. Oh, and they're gonna and they're continuing to go this way because it takes a lot of effort to reverse the damages they had done to their environment. And so I say, like, it's gonna take 2 years, and there is gonna be like an awful civil war, like Syria style, but I think on steroids, if there
I
isn't
really
a
wouldn't
regime
wish that
change.
for them
Like,
at all.
so with a regime change, yes, the civil war, I think, would probably still happen to a degree. Probably not as bad. I don't know. I think that starvation and thirst, that's like something that we haven't seen. Like, think about the mismanagement of the USSR or the communists in China, where we saw like tens of millions starved to death. That's something we haven't seen in a while, and I think this is what we're gonna see if the regime doesn't change. Even though, like, it's kind of happening in North Korea as well, but it's not gonna. It's like Iran was way more ethnically diverse and way harder to control. So I think it would be even worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really. It's hard to. I don't really believe that Iran has great sovereignty anyway, over a lot
They
of its
don't. They lost
areas.
control over
Yeah,
a lot of areas,
yeah, the
which I think people
Balochistan,
don't know. They lost control.
Kurdistan,
Yeah,
which is where I think that
yeah.
we recruited the people to go and do the operations. I mean, I think that it's almost like Iraqi
No.
Kurdistan, where Israelis even had flights to Iraqi Kurdistan. I think it could even. I
No.
mean,
So
again, I'm just
no.
speculating.
So I think those who do it, they are like Persian Iranians, but
Yeah.
there is like a military force,
Mm-hmm.
Kurdish military force, waiting for directions.
Mm-hmm.
They're like waiting to get like, which I'm not sure, like, which is which is very much their own. Like, here's the thing: at least they organize themselves. You know what? Like they're not gonna go down like in starvation and thirst without fighting. Gotta appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I also, I also think that probably the Kurds are not a unified force in any way. I don't even think that the Iranian Kurds can even communicate with like the Syrian or the Iraqi Kurds. I think that it's a totally different language, totally different dialect. I
Although they
even
have
would,
different languages,
yeah, I
the
even
Kurds
think that
in
probably
Iran
there's inner
and
ethnic conflicts, yeah, between them. So I don't see them being like a unified force in any way. I mean, to be honest, it's very hard to imagine
no,
Syria.
but
Sorry, to imagine Iran being able to come out of this in a good way. I mean, it's kind of disastrous
well, of
if you want
course,
to think about it. Any way that you kind of cut it, it's sort of various shades of catastrophe.
right. But I think like not changing the regime, that's the strongest shade of catastrophe you might have, because the changing the regime gives you like hope for it to be better.
But, and again, I'm just really seeing this from the position of being an Iranian. But the regime, as terrible as it is, there is some degree of stability in kind of understanding what's going to be tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Right, but only
It's
tomorrow.
yeah. I mean, you
I don't
you
know if
cannot
they.
do long-term
So
planning.
the number one thing is to make sure like Iranians, like the media, needs to be saying the reality of what the Iran situation is right now.
Yeah.
And because what they did is like everybody who sounded an alarm, they got rid of them in Iran. But it's coming. The catastrophe is coming. It's like,
or it's here.
it is already here, but yeah. So
Someone is asking, how did you celebrate this Trump operation?
how did I celebrate? With a live. I went live. I was with you.
It's a celebration, I suppose, but it's also the least you could do, given the circumstances. If you get what I mean, like it was literally the least that Trump could have done. He redeemed America maybe
Literally.
a little, okay, because this has been, we're the people that live here. We're the people that have been suffering because of, I don't know what to say, it's like these kind of geopolitical kind of experiments that America has been doing in the Middle East for the past 40 years. It's like they've had real consequences for us. And I even think it goes back as late as Operation Desert Storm in 1991.
Sweetie, it
Where,
started in 1947.
yeah, I guess so.
Like, wait, do you know what Shana is talking about here? Can you read it? Thank you, Shana, for your support always. By the way, you guys subscribe, comment, share my videos. Like all of you, share like the favorite video that I've made. Share it with your friends because I really want to grow this channel. But yeah, do you know what's that?
No, I actually don't. I mean, I know that the Green Berets are kind of like they're kind of like Sayeret Matkal.
Yeah.
So but I don't know what they're talking about. It sounds cool though. It definitely sounds fun. I'd like to see it.
What's
I've had
American piracy?
Well, I've had a lot of Houthi piracy recently, and I've not loved it. It's been, what can I say? It's been disappointing, the Houthi piracy. It's kind of been a bit crap. So I'd be interested to hear about the American piracy. Please, rock my
Like,
world. All right.
So honestly speaking, like I know like there was piracy around the Caribbeans a lot and things like that. But American, like as North American piracy, I don't remember that. So I don't know what. There's a Shan, I think. Private. Well, how do you read it? Privateering is what I'm told, not piracy. What is privateering?
Oh, okay. Are you talking about creating like a shadow navy? Yeah, I would
To
have
do
to
what?
read up on this. I'm I'm not have to admit I'm not really I'm not up on what the kind of the latest trends in the Navy are, although I like them.
No. So, okay, so this is fun stuff because I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna share, you know what I realized, like, that is fun, is to read Israeli comments
Yalla.
on stuff that are happening. I did
Yalla.
it with an article that talk about Alice Weidel, you know, the leader of the German AF, like how's the German, like the
AFD.
far right AFD. Okay,
Yeah, the
so
AFD.
they were saying like, yeah, her great grandpa was like a judge, a Nazi judge or something like that. And then I just like, you know what? Let me show you how Israelis think. And I just read is like how the comments that Israelis made on Ynet, which were
No, no,
hilarious.
no.
But it's like very telling. No, we're like, so like so many comments were like, okay, so what? We have Merav Michaeli, her grandpa sold Jews to the Nazis.
Oh yeah, mamash. I mean, it's like
It's like
the
that's like, why is
The Katzner train,
I
and
don't like, I want to see you making an article about why is she running into politics. Is it because she's like, you would never do something like that to a leftist, right? Yeah,
yeah,
Erich Kästner. Yeah, I think Erich, I don't
yeah.
know
It
how
was
to say
It
it.
was
Yeah,
Katzner. Yeah, it was and you know the whole
no, like
situation with
like
Katzner is very, 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 very it's very like contested. Okay, like
yeah,
it is also entirely possible that Katzner was a really great person who had to collude with the Nazis to save Jews, and he did save Jews, and that's indisputable. But he also colluded with the Nazis. It's, you know, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
like
I really, it's definitely not the same thing as your dad, as your grandfather being a Nazi judge. These people.
but but like I don't know, like there are a lot of like it's so hard to understand like what really was going on there because there are a lot of people who really think that he
Yeah, there's a lot of people
like
very
helped
angry.
a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but and then it's like it's you know it's like but her family like they denounced him and like there is no touch and anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, people were like, so what? I don't
I
care
mean,
about her grandpa. What? Tell me about her. That was the comments. Like it was such an Israeli thinking. It was like,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I could really, I don't know if I really judge people for what their grandparents did. I mean, you know, it was a different time. And I think
yeah,
that,
why is it a
okay, fine.
different time? We're living in
Well,
exactly the same times right now. What changed?
I have to admit, I really don't hold that much animosity towards Germans because at least they have acknowledged, admitted, and tried to do
Right.
reparations, you know, for what they did. And to be honest, like, you know, genocidal anti-Semitism was really the flavor du jour. And let's not forget, people throw it onto the Germans and say the Germans are to deflect what they did. Okay, the French, they literally like just turned the Jews over to the Nazis. They were like, "Oh yeah, you want him? We got him. Have him." Okay, and they've never.
Yeah.
It took Jacques Chirac to 1994 to actually admit that stuff. Yeah, we could talk about Hungary for sure. We could talk about Ukraine. We could
Well,
talk
at
about
least
any of these
making
countries.
up. Hungary is making up
Yeah,
for it now. Like they're
okay,
like they really are.
But so like,
I
I
mean,
think this
I
whole thing
know.
about the Germans, I think it's a huge deflection
No,
tactic.
100%. This is
You know,
somebody who survived the Holocaust. This is exactly what he said. Somebody asked, like, what do you think about Germans today? And he said, at least they admitted they did wrong.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was his comment. Like, what about the rest of them? They all sucked. And only the Germans are good enough to at least admit it. Right. Shauna is saying, yes, Alex, that basically a militia that is an informal unit under the president, kind of like mercenaries. I don't know what. Like,
Yeah,
thank
I
you,
mean,
Shauna,
they
for your
have a lot
support.
of
But
these. They have a lot of these organizations, these private military companies. They have
right.
Blackwater or whatever it is they're calling themselves today. I mean, I'm not against
So
PMCs. I just don't know if they're really that effective. We have a PMC right now that's managing all of the aid distribution in Gaza. That PMC seems to be doing quite well. I don't know if
yeah,
I don't hate them.
and maybe protect Christians in different places, like here. So this is an article. It talks about at least like 15. I heard somewhere 20. How many were killed? It says 15 were killed in a suicide attack in a church in Damascus, and then there are images, and stuff. But I wanted to actually focus on the comments. I don't know if you can see them. Can you see them?
Any Bekoshiwa.
So
Any dear Gutierrez, please say something. Okay.
Yeah. Like the Vatican is silent. Yeah. Should I just translate it? Just do it translation.
European countries shut up. Canada, Australia, and the Americas. Okay, you're moving the thing. I can't read it. Are also silent. From that, I understand that you really only care about Palestinians.
Yeah, something like. Wait, I'm thinking maybe I should like make it English. Don't know how well it was. Like the Vatican is silent. European countries are silent. Canada, Australia, and American countries. What's American countries?
The Americas.
Oh yeah, the Americas. From this, I understand that they only care. So if Israel is not stupid, it should help the Syrians investigate those attacks, share methods of cooperation, and help them against
Absolutely
ISIS.
not. Absolutely not. No way.
What do you think?
No
I
way.
agree.
No way.
Yeah, we have a lot of our own troubles. Thank you.
No, but like, hello, have we not learned from this crap? Like, we literally did this in Lebanon. Okay, we got stuck there. It was our Vietnam. It was a disaster. They don't really want our help. They just want to tie us up.
Also, you know how the Christians. Okay, so the situation of the Christians in Syria is extremely problematic. They are. That's true. They almost
in Lebanon. They were
killed
literal terrorists.
Oh, they were terrorists. They were, but in Syria, the Christian community is very fragmented, and they go against each other. It's extremely fragmented, and they hate each other, and they wouldn't help each other. So, by the way, it's such an Israeli thing, because notice what they're saying here. Like, where's the Vatican? And it's like a Greek Orthodox church. Like the Catholics would not help Greek Orthodox. Like in Syria, that's the way it is in Syria. Like the more like they have not the Maronim. How do you say Maroons? Maronites. Like they wouldn't the Christians, like they're super divided. They wouldn't help each other. And it's like
there are Christians, there are Christian sects, there are Christian groups that definitely in the Middle East that I would say are when I say worthy, everybody's worthy, but I'm meaning, when you're a country like Israel, you're not dealing with the, man and women on the street. You're dealing with their militia, their tribal leader, okay, the head of their hamula, their head of their clan. Okay, that's who you're dealing with. So I know there are some clans that we don't mind kind of dealing in, and they can maybe give us intelligence, whatever. And then there's others that, like, they would shoot us. We also had Palestinian Christians who were going on shooting rampages against Israelis, not that long ago. Um, it's it's kind of the way that it is. But I feel very sorry for them. I feel very sorry for the Christians of Syria. I really do, because
Yeah.
they're really in a tricky situation.
This is something I also heard a lot, like from Christians who do charity work. Christians be like, you get charity only if you serve. I mean, I think that's not true. Like, I think they wouldn't help. Like, I think Christians actually, I don't know, actually, I don't remember. But I heard several stories about like whether getting help from Christians is like, I think they do it without asking you to convert, but I think sometimes they do. I don't remember. Actually, you know what? I don't want to say something wrong here. I have too many stories jumbled up in my mind right now. Okay, so, and people don't understand why this religion is compared to cancer, because it only takes over the world through destruction and death. Islam is also striking in Syria. Here we go. Yeah.
I mean, like,
I love Israelis. This is so funny. Like, like.
like, I really don't think that Islam is going to take over Europe anytime soon.
You don't?
I just think, nah. I think it's such a pathetic ideology. It totally doesn't stand up, to scrutiny. It's irrational, and it is paranoid, and it is deeply conspiratorial. And I simply don't think that it will. It's too pathetic of an ideology to really take over. People are not, people even say like, oh, we'll do it through migration, and then we'll have lots of babies. Well, good luck. I mean, it's very second generation Muslims in Britain, they have less babies than the native population. Okay, so you're gonna have to convince them to have more kids. It's and also convince those kids to be indoctrinated. It's very difficult. I don't
I
see it
mean,
happening.
no, the third generation are more indoctrinated, like, than their
Yeah,
grandparents.
maybe. But then again, I mean, remember, we have defeated multiple ideologies before. We defeated pan-Arabism. We defeated Baathism. We have defeated
When you
many
say we,
ideologies. The
who
Jews,
you are?
the Israelis
All
have.
right, but the
So
Christians.
if Western civilization wishes to fight for itself, it can defeat it very easily, But if they don't,
But they
then okay,
don't.
they're gonna have. Yeah, that is a problem. That is definitely an issue.
Like, that's
But
that's the thing with, like, I always feel like they're gonna lose their edge though if Christians retaliate, because then how they're gonna tell us that they're better than us?
well, I think as well, we have to remember that the Iranian Revolution of 1979 was such a pivotal moment in the world of the kind of the radical Islamist. And because from that, it's kind of, there's this concept in war, that's from the Clausewitz, right? Who's kind of the philosopher, the general who is behind Western Western military strategy. And it's this idea about the center of gravity, right? When you're going to be attacking someone, you attack their center of gravity. We did this very well when we had the pager attacks, okay? Because their center of gravity was their belief that Allah was with them. We attacked it with the pagers, and you saw them. They broke. They were so defeated. Their center of gravity it just vanished. And I truly believe that for radical Muslims the world over, the Iranian Revolution is the center of their gravity. And
Yeah,
the
but
moment that
also
it's
like okay, but I like the thing with Shiite Islam is like part of their narrative is that they are losers because they lost to the Sunnah.
Mhm.
And that like even though they are the losers, like they push through it. So wouldn't just like play into their loser, very convenient loser built-in mindset. Like, yeah, we're like, yeah, we were like we lost to the Sunnis, but we have we are the righteous ones, and we are the ones that are correct, and we are the ones that have it right, and it's like. And we're gonna stick to the truth until the very end, and we're gonna do whatever it takes to protect it. And like they have this mentality of being losers and losing like so ingrained in them. I actually feel like what you just said, like that would convince more maybe Sunnis than Shiites. Like if you like the Sunnis might ask themselves, if we lose, maybe we're like Allah is not with us, but maybe
yeah. Well, you mean
maybe
you saw it
Shiites
with
are like,
Hezbollah.
okay, we lose and it's part of this, it's part of our story, and
Actually,
it's like
yeah, I mean, it definitely, yes. Okay, so I'm okay. Well, like you did see it, right? When they, because the after we did the pager attacks, okay, you had these guys who were they were they were Hezbollah terrorists. They were in a shrine in Iran, and you saw the look of total defeat on their faces. They had their hands blown off, their eyes blown out, and it was just this kind of, oh, it was this cold understanding. Oh my God, like Allah is. It was kind of like, oh God, like Allah is totally not with us. And but however, big defeats, big military defeats are also part of Shia history. So I think we also have to kind of um I think we also have to kind of remember that as well, that they do take military defeats much better
yeah.
than other people.
I also think they just don't know how to do anything else. It's like, okay, let's say like, okay, our way didn't work. Like, what's now? Like,
Hmm.
if you're part of a death cult, it's like you don't know how to live life anymore, right?
Right.
Like, all you know is death. So how do you do life?
Well, it's also it's a lot easier to have a revolution and take over a weak government than it is going to be to actually, run the country. And I think that, that's definitely what's happened with Iran, that they easily kind of took over the country because the Shah, was very sick, very weak, didn't have a lot of belief in himself, didn't feel legitimate. Obviously, the government wasn't legitimate because of Mossadegh, who was the Iranian prime minister in 1953 that was removed by the CIA and MI6. So there was this underpinning of legitimacy to that government that made it very
No,
susceptible to being overthrown.
I don't think so. I think they were in the same situation as Europe now, because once people get Islam, which is like a dog getting rabies, you need to shoot them. And they weren't like in a situation where they could do that, but that was the only solution.
Yeah, yeah, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. There's
Yeah,
no.
it's
And
like,
by
are
the
you
way, this is
willing to shoot or not? That's
and
the
this is
question. Because like that's a death cult. If you deal with a death cult, this is the only solution.
yeah.
And then those who are a little bit less suicidal, they might be like, oh, maybe I want to stay alive.
Mhm.
And it's the same with Iran right now. Like they're gonna continue until they're suicidal. They didn't have to
Yeah.
respond to the attack,
But I also think that the West has a lot, of guilt with this. I think that really that's not something that people can really shy away from. Is that the mess that we see today in Iran is, the result of decades of appeasement. It's of the result of decades of underestimating and doing the work doing deals with the devil, and of flippantly overthrowing regimes. Okay, like yeah, Mossadegh was a bit of a leftist. Okay, but he wasn't that bad. I mean, it was not, it did not warrant, okay, what he was, what eventually happened. I think the West really has a lot of, this is really my opinion, and I wrote it to you earlier, that we as Israelis are the people who are feeling the brunt of the horrendous decisions of the West over the past 40 years, that we're the people who suffer when they make these ridiculous decisions. Okay, like, and time again, they're just like, one more experiment, we'll have one more diplomatic experiment. Yeah, so what? If it doesn't work out, okay, so the Israelis will have a few ballistic missiles, big deal. Yeah, it's not your kids, it's ours. Okay,
Right.
and
But
it is total, I mean, really, it's imperialism, and not listening to us as well, not listening to us as the people that live here. Like, hey, maybe we get a say in this, and this is the end result. This is what you get. This is what you get. This is what
no,
this
I
is.
actually think it's way deeper than that.
Yeah,
Like they talk, like when you want to shoot, don't talk. But I think it's way deeper than that, because I think it's the same behavior we see everywhere when it comes to Christians. And the West is Christian. Like, it's what Christians do.
yeah,
Like, look at
yeah,
them in Syria.
absolutely.
Yes. Like they own the country. Like, there is no history or anything, and they let it happen to them. It's just a Christian tendency. Like, when the Shah was like, we have to, like, the only option is to like shoot. And they're like, no, maybe there is a redemption
Love your
there.
enemy.
Maybe they're redeemed. Like, yeah, like
Yeah,
there is,
that's the love
maybe
your
they're
enemy. That's why
redeemable.
it's so evil.
Maybe if their country, maybe if they get what they want, then things would be great. But they get what they want, and they have no qualms about mass massacring their own population.
Well, if anybody
They
wants
do.
to hear more about this, please listen to ARC UK, Ayn Rand Centre UK, where I'm often speaking there. We talk about exactly this problem within Christianity.
But it's just,
Sorry,
so
Rebecca.
but like, I wouldn't say like it's guilt or like the West did it to us. No, they have a mindset where they are just psychologically more
Absolutely.
prone to it, and that needs to be like that needs to be a feedback. It's like, listen, this is what's happening to you. Look at that church. This is you doing, like, this was a Christian country. Look at that. Like, look, I don't want it to, like, look, this is you're doing to yourself because of that, like, inability to understand that not everybody is nice. Like, and like,
well, I mean, this particular
Islamist
event could be, IRGC.
But it's like, whatever, it's Islam versus Christians anyway, right? I don't think it was Christians who did it to other Christians, is it?
No. Yeah, I highly doubt it.
I doubt it too. So it's what we see. It's like one.
It's very sad to see this, it really,
It is.
like, it does do something to me to see this, because I see it kind of, it does something, I think, to the Israeli psyche, because we see ourselves in this. I think, we see our, ransacked houses, we see our, dead bodies strewn all over the place from some, massacre that's happened, and we see a vulnerable minority, which is absolutely what the Jews are in this area. I feel it does do something to me to see this.
So I know what I think. I think it's not exactly that Israelis can relate to it. I think Israelis are more like they're holding the fortress, and they look at that and they're like, why are you not holding the fortress with us? And they just look at these people who are like, frustratingly, they just decided to give up. Like, this is how I feel like, isn't it? It's just so frustrating to see people who it feels like they just gave up. Like, we fight, we fight. Like, Israelis fight, you know? Like, we fight with all our mights, with everything we have.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah,
and
but
it's
I
like,
just want
why
to
are you
say,
not
like,
fighting?
we do fight with all our mights, but I think we went through quite a lot of instances of being genocided before we got to the point where we were, you know, forming militias and willing to fight. You know, it was also a journey for us. We also understand what it's like to be kind of, you know, railroaded and pogromed and everything. I mean, it's not a,
I mean,
it's not
but
exactly as if we
I
don't
think,
relate to it.
because I think we almost went extinct when because think about Metzadah. Like, this was the mindset, the real mindset Jews had, right? Like the Masada mindset. And then from several millions, we went down to 300,000 people worldwide because of that. So there was like an overcorrection, but it doesn't come from not wanting to fight, but it comes from like the Talmudic trauma of, okay, Metzadah almost got us extinct. So we need to like try to, you know, like win some, lose some.
Right.
And then that, with a combination of being like a minority on one hand, and then being in a, like, getting more and more influenced by Christian thinking in Europe.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I think there's also something to that, and the fact that you see that, you know, American Jewish life is dying. You know, they're not having any children. And then you compare that to Israel, where you have thriving Jewish life. I mean, you have incredibly big, and I'm not talking about religious. I'm talking secular families having 3, 4 children. You know, there's a belief there. There's a belief in the future. There's a belief. There's also, when you start to fight for yourself and you start to get a little bit of self-respect and self-esteem, it is absolutely infectious. Yeah. So somebody's saying American non-Orthodox. Yeah, but like, you know, how many are the Orthodox in America? It's really not that many. It's, you know.
Yeah, but it's like, it doesn't really matter. Like,
yeah.
Honestly speaking, like, anyway. So it's
Sad
because
to
of
see
a
the
kibush.
Christians. It's
Yeah,
sad to
sad.
see the Christians, you know. It is sad. It doesn't feel nice to see them, you know, being picked on and being, you know, genocided. I don't know what to even call it. What, you know, I can't imagine what it's like to be a Christian. It must absolutely suck to be a Christian in Syria. I mean, what's worse? Oh, I suppose I could maybe being another minority might be worse. It's hard to say. It really is. I mean, what about the Yazidis? Well, I guess that was more in kind of Iraq,
Right.
but still, I mean, not great. Really not great.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So in a sense, you can say like, yeah, you know what, like the Zoroastrians, they were like, most people around here like had the, like, okay, we're gonna fight back, and then they had reached the same conclusion as Jews did with the Romans, right, where they went from several millions to from 10% of the population in the Roman Empire to like a neglectable minority. Basically, I think people, like, in a lot of people's minds in the time, was like, okay, Jews are like basically extinct now. And but the Yazidis, like, and there was the restaurants, a lot of people here like went through the same thing, like they want like they fought all the way through, versus the Christians, where you can tell, like, you know what, like they dwindled and dwindled and dwindled, but at least it was relatively slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
So there
apparently
is
we're
like
flying.
something about like there is some it's like, you know, it's like neither it, like my guess is like you need to know how to walk this very tightrope bit of like fighting like Masada style, which was like a really difficult siege, and like it shocked the Romans with how long it lasted and how much, like, versus the you know, the it's gonna be okay and we're gonna be complicit, and like the slow disappearance of Christians.
I just want to say, somebody just wrote something that's kind of bothering me. Someone saying, no one truly wins a war, everyone loses something. Well, no, you have winners and losers in
Oh
war.
yeah, you'll have winners.
Yeah. The idea that you and even I just want to say, even when people are being pulled out of the rubble, okay, of their homes in Israel, you still have them, and I'm not crazy people being extremely thankful. Okay. And, for all of the fragmentation of Israeli society, 100% of the people are behind the war with Iran. And even the people,
Right.
like I said, who have suffered tremendously, they are still considering themselves to be lucky people.
Right. 100%. Anyway,
What does it matter to have a nice big house when you live in a country where you're cowering in fear, and you're losing, and you're suffering pogroms, and you're afraid at night that you're gonna have a Iranian missile with a nuclear tip go through your front door and vaporize you. What good does your big house do? It doesn't do you anything.
1%. Anyway, I think that's it when it comes to the Christian church. I know you had some comments on Iran.
What comments?
I mean, you started and then I stopped you.
Oh, with operate.
Do you want to share it with everyone, or are you like?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was thinking a few things. So the first thing, I was thinking is that the minimum that America could have done is actually come and do what they did last night. That after 40 years of basically throwing Israel in the shit, it really was the worst. That really was the least that could have happened, because all of these proxies that have been battling with Israel for the past 10 years, 15 years, it's all been funded, right, by Obama and his, how long was his reign of terror? 8 years of appeasement, followed by the first Trump,
I was praying. You know what? Like every day that we survived, and when Obama was president,
it's incredible that we survived.
It's incredible because I was waiting for I thought he'd gonna nuke us directly. I thought he's gonna drop the pretense at some point and just nuke us, but we survived.
No, he wouldn't have done that. He would have just gotten Tehran to do it. And it was a
well, it doesn't matter. I just waiting for it. Like it was like a daily survival.
Yeah,
it's like, we're still alive when Obama is the president. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, and so I also mentioned that they played Russian roulette essentially with our lives, continually, and so now and now it's very convenient, after we have taken the risk of this operation being a total failure, because it could have been a total failure. So now that the operation has been a success and everybody is celebrating that success, you come in for the nice kind of photo op. Oh, of course we're here. Yeah, it's great. It's easy to join on and tack yourself onto a winner. It's difficult to do the more challenging things. Okay. And I also was thinking a lot, this is just really myself, about Operation Desert Storm. So
Right. What is
Operation
Operation
Desert.
Desert Storm?
Okay, so in 1991, anybody in the chat who was in Israel at the time will definitely remember this. It was
Wasn't on Earth yet.
exactly. So it was when we suffered this how do I even call it, right? How do I even describe what we suffered? We suffered scud missile attacks. We had our families who would be stuffing rags underneath the door cracks because we were worried about poison gas. Okay. And Saddam Hussein's missiles landed in Tel Aviv, Haifa, and the American administration at the time was George H.W. Bush. He basically formed this mega coalition, right, against Saddam Hussein because he had invaded Iraq. Sorry, he invaded Kuwait with the help of the Palestinians. Okay, but like, hush, hush, shush, shush. Let's not get into that one. Um,
Yeah.
and he made this decision that that we were not allowed to be invited. So here you have the strongest military in the Middle East, us. Okay, here you have the victims of this tyrannical regime in Iraq, who wanted to have justice for themselves, and we were told to stand down. We were muzzled, basically, and it was this massive blow to us as a nation. Okay, to stand back and to watch while come on, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, all of these really useless like militaries that were taking part in this beautiful, right, beautiful show in the skies of the glorious plains. And it was a phenomenal operation. And so weren't allowed to take part. We were and we were seen as a liability rather than a partner. Okay, it was kind of like, oh, you guys are just too Jewish, I think. And it's really
Oh yeah.
upsetting these racist anti-Semitic Arabs that I've gotten to join my coalition of ragtag freaks. You're too Jewish, so you can't be involved. So we weren't allowed to fight back. We were literally not allowed to fight back. And so I was very, I actually felt it felt good, right? Last night, it really felt good because it kind of felt like, okay, now we're no longer this horrible kind of liability. Now we're a partner. And to be a partner is, you know, to see our you know to imagine our pilots and formations, okay, with the Americans being leading it instead of being sidelined. It felt good. No longer we're going to be appeasing these tyrannical anti-Semitic sensitive neighbors, okay. And also having the recognition as well, I think, was very, yeah, that also felt very good to have the recognition of our
I
achievements.
have to say that it's nice to be recognized. Like, I think it's true, like with all the hate that we're getting lately, we have finally achieved the level of being humans.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, I want to say something that is less cynical. You know that it's the first time in history that another country prepared the ground, the airspace for an American strike, because
Yeah.
it happened a lot. Like because usually America would prepare the ground and the free the airspace for like European jets to come and strike, and it was the first time that another like that it was a different country other than America who did the the preparation, while America
Yeah.
was the one striking the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, because if it hadn't have worked out, they would have just left us in the shit. I mean, it's not as if it's that we can. Well, I don't know, but I would
I
assume
don't
so.
think so. No, because it's and the can of worms Israel is like the lid that we are is way
Yeah.
too precious to ignore.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I don't think he would have left us. I think he would have done it anyway.
Maybe.
The
Maybe I'm
difference is the
totally not
freedom that we have,
understanding.
right?
Yeah.
No, it's like like they treat us like a pariah on a global stage, but secretly like we're too important for for people to actually go too hard against us behind the scenes, like unless they're jihadistic, like Europe. But the difference now that we had such a good strike is that you can see like I saw Britain is preparing to strike Iran. And Germany is saying that we're gonna protect the Jewish nation with our bodies. And and what would have happened is that if it wasn't as successful, is that America would have still done it, but the whole world would have been like, yeah, those problematic like Jews, whatever, Israel, like always getting us in trouble, versus like, oh yeah, we're gonna like this kind of voices what we are hearing now, that we didn't hear for a long time, right? So when we are losing, it's like, yeah, we need them to exist, but like they need to breathe, but that's it. And now it's like, okay, now it's like, yeah, what do you mean they need to be free people?
Yeah, like it suddenly just dawned on everybody, you know what I mean? Like
it's like,
it's
oh
suddenly,
yeah.
Oh, I kind of realized maybe it would be nice for the people of Iran to like have a better life. It's like, oh, by the way, sorry, can I just mention in the chat, if anybody here is in Jerusalem, could you please let me know if there's a siren, because I'm filming on my phone and I'm not so sure that it's going to give me the big scary alert. So just if you can drop me a little, note in the chat, okay, if anybody here is in Yerushalayim, I would really appreciate it. Preferably before I hear the siren.
Okay. Let's see. Well, Shana, I love you. Thank you for your support. People, be like Shana. Shana is amazing. Support this channel.
Okay, so
that's an interesting
Ari's
preparation.
Ari's gonna help. Sorry.
Ari, somebody's checking it for you.
What,
there are alerts?
Ari is saying Ari in the chat is saying he's in Yerushalayim. Thank you very much for having my back.
Yeah, okay, cool. Oh my God. I want to answer some. So is there an alarm or no? Is there something?
No.
I'm just looking what's going on.
I was just asking everybody to let me know when there is one so that I can.
I like that. I'm hoping we can pass the torch to you guys. We're gonna, as the new power in the region, it's our torch. Yeah. This is our turf now. This is the Middle East is our turf now.
Well, I think.
All right, can you keep the keep the audience busy for a minute? I want to check something.
Yeah, I was saying that I think that was really part of the original plan. Is kind of the United States is wanting to take a bit of a back seat to the kind of the interventions in the Middle East. So there was this desire to pass the torch on to the regional power, which of course is Israel. Kind of like your dad giving you the keys to the car. Like you just, keep everything going, turn it on once a week, making sure that make sure that the kiddies over here, they stay in line. You're going to be our enforcer right from now on. And I think that it was, a big test, kind of, can the Israelis actually do it? Are they the real deal militarily? Okay. And I think that we've definitely proven that. And so Nate says, "Thank you so much for all the wisdom and knowledge you bring to us, and your courage to stand up to the evil of our day." So I can't really take credit for the wisdom and knowledge. I think maybe that's Rebecca. It's her channel. But certainly, yeah, thank you very, very much for that. We definitely
Right.
appreciate. So someone's saying it would take 4 Beccas and 4 Alexes to make half a Golda. You should be ashamed of yourself. Secularism at its worst. I mean, I'm really not.
Do you guys know how religious Golda was?
I mean, she was
Like secular, like
famously,
do they
she
know?
was communist.
Do they?
She was a communist. She was quite literally a communist. I mean, she definitely, she was a brave woman.
A socialist.
She was a kibbutznik. She was a kibbutznik. I mean, to her core.
Yeah. I mean, but like secularism at its worst. Like, I mean, bro,
you don't get more
you try to
secular than
sound
Golda.
smart, but you cannot. Yeah, she was way more secular. No, but like she was way more secular than us. Way more secular. We're way more religious than her. So maybe we're not. Maybe it would take 4 Rebeccas and 4 Alexes to make a half a Golda, but secularism should not be blamed for it, sir.
I'm not really sure if secularism is supposed to be like a slur or something. I'm not really getting it, to tell you. I'm not really getting it. It's not hurting.
Yeah.
It's not hurting me. I mean, also, yeah, I mean, Deborah's making a good point. Golda was a chain smoker as well. So she was.
Oh, yeah.
But,
that is not a good thing, though. She suffered a lot. It was awful.
She definitely did. I know it.
It's not something to be proud of. I mean, I think it's so funny how people try to sound
maybe
smart
they're talking about
and
Goldie Hawn. Did you ever think about that? That maybe they're talking about Goldie Hawn.
I don't think she is much more religious than she's like.
She's maybe more religious than Golda Meir.
Well, like a tad bit.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
My grandmother was called Golda.
Oh, it's cute.
But she was very religious.
Maybe I was talking about your grandma.
Maybe that's what I'm talking about. You're talking about
maybe, and then that would make perfect sense. That it would take 4 of each of us to be like half of your grandma.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, we're not shitting on Golda Meir. We're definitely not shitting on Golda Meir. Definitely not. Okay.
Yeah, we appreciate her a lot. She was awesome. If we want to shit on anyone, we should shit on her Sara Bitachon, on Moshe Dayan.
Moshe Dayan, we don't like. I mean, it's not that I don't like.
We don't like.
I don't.
Come on, we don't like him.
No, I don't. Okay, so the thing that bothers me so much about Moshe Dayan, I mean, I think I've said this a million times, is the Battle of Jerusalem. No, actually, sorry, it starts way before that. It starts in 1948 with the appeasement and the surrendering to the Jordanians. Okay, the enemy, to handing them over Jerusalem.
All right. So what is it that you do like?
No, I mean, I do like a lot. I liked a lot of things about Gore. Okay, he was indeed very much. He was a bit of a media whore, but certainly I appreciated that it was him that really was the person who understood the importance of taking Jerusalem. If it wasn't for him, then I don't think we would have actually done it. Moshe Dayan wanted to surrender. He didn't even want to take Givat Tachmoshet. I mean, how on earth can you
So you
take
don't.
Jerusalem
I
without
asked
being
what you liked about Moshe Dayan, but it sounds like you
no,
only brought more reason to.
oh, sorry,
I
sorry.
like. Well, okay, we have to
Like,
appreciate the fact that he fought,
well, I have to
that he went
appreciate the
out
fact
there
that
and
no, he
risked.
was a massive strategist. I mean, really, he was a great war strategist. I mean, I just want to also say something about
Yeah,
Moshe Dayan that I do like is that so when they were talking about the Battle of Jerusalem in 1967, they hadn't yet taken Givat Tachmoshet, and there was a discussion internally where Gul was saying, "Okay, so we're going to take it from the west, and we're going to do da 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 da," and Moshe Dayan says, I'm not saying we're going to take Jerusalem, but if we would, how would you do it? And he gives him the explanation. And then Moshe Dayan goes, take it from the east. And Gol says, whoa, man, you're. Oh, and also, I don't know if the military plans were discussed with Levi Eshkol, who was not the best, but whatever. But Moshe Dayan says, take it from the east. And they said, nobody has taken Jerusalem from the east since the time of King David. Okay. And that was Moshe Dayan's strategy. That was his absolute understanding of the game of war. And that is what I appreciate about him, truly. So he does deserve a place in the, but he was a complicated person. And you often
right.
get that with great generals because they have to, I don't have it in me, Rebecca, okay, to send young teenage boys to their death and to take these massive risks and to do these audacious things. I don't have it in me, right? I would crumble. I just it's
You
too
don't.
it's I don't think I'm saying personally, I don't think I could be a general. I could
I don't
definitely
know.
do war games, but push comes to shove,
I
I don't know if I have it in me.
I just okay. I don't want to say anything because I know that when I feel at risk, my brain changes.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
in my experience is that I and I don't, and it doesn't go to the between flight, freeze, and fight. A lot of
right.
times I am more on the fight.
Yeah.
So so like I can say whatever, but like in my experience, like when
Mhm.
like I know from like that I tend to like my mind
Yeah.
is like becomes very much like this, like literally like that. Like I feel like this is like what I actually did. Like I like when I was like harassed several times, like with like a
Mhm.
random guy, like this is what I did. Like literally, like my hands went to straight like that to their throat, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Are you sure you want to do that?" And then they would run away. But like that's my instinct. So
Right. Well, that's
so
good.
I don't want to.
That's
I
good.
don't want to like. I don't know. So to me, it's really hard. It's like I cannot imagine myself like in a life like that situation. But I know like I don't have the same person. Like I don't have the same brain or personality when it happens. It's
Yeah.
like a different person. And then I'm
So
shaken, and I was like, "Who was that?" But
so
like, yeah,
I think that I do have, a lot of appreciation that, for Moshe Dayan for these massive strategic ballsy operations. And but again, you do have this I think competing ideology or competing personality behind a lot of Israeli generals. Okay, great Israeli generals, great Israeli soldiers. Okay, you know, our favorite boyfriend over here, Ehud Barak, was a phenomenal soldier. I mean, wow, what a brave soldier! What a guy! You can't, but as a person, I mean, holy shit, right? The I mean, like as a person, it's like a person who's filled with jealousy, a person who's filled with these personal issues. But wow, Ehud Barak, who on earth could ever doubt a man who would go to Entebbe and to sit on the floor of and put the lights so that the plane could land? I mean, wow. I mean, it's Hall of Fame kind of stuff.
it's called psychopathy specifically.
Maybe I don't know. I mean,
It's
it's another
like what I
level.
say. It's like people don't understand. People like shit on psychopaths. I say no, you need them
Yeah,
for
yeah,
certain things. You need them, but you also need to recognize them to make sure that they're not going to go to a place where they don't like where it doesn't fit, where they're
yeah.
Like where there are places where they would shine, and there are places that they should not be. Like don't give them those keys, no matter how much they impress you, because it's like it's wrong, because it's like they have their limitations which they cannot overcome, and that is a hudbak. So Shana is asking
Totally.
best and worst
Totally.
American presidents.
I mean, of all time?
I don't.
Of all time or what?
I don't know. I guess let's do it fast and wrap it up. I think.
Okay.
Getting
But I
late.
just want to. Yeah, I also just want to say something. So someone's asking that they want to see more. They want to see more stuff with me. So I have some stuff on ARC UK. I'm just gonna put one of the links to the videos in the chat. If you guys, if you know, if the people are asking if they want to watch it, I think I'll also be on tomorrow as well. Probably the one that's going to be at 8 o'clock, the broadcast. So if anybody
Also,
wants
you
to
should come out to my channel more because it's fun.
hell yeah, I never get invited. I had to drag you over here to have the conversation because I was so riled up. I did. You didn't. And by the way, you haven't commented once on my beautiful decoration here.
It's blurry. How would I know what it is? All I can see is a red blur.
This is a genuine Gush Katif.
I don't see what it says. You think I see it? It just looks like a red blur.
Is that my problem, Rebecca?
Well, when I'm being blamed for not complimenting for the whatever blurry thing you have in the background, because apparently it's so cool.
It is very cool. So I have a flag here.
How would I know?
A genuine Gush Katif. Because you're very smart, Rebecca. Come on. You don't need me to tell you.
So I can like I can run like a deblurness algorithm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Nope. Absolutely. Nope. Definitely not. I'm not that smart, girl. Expect too much of me.
It's not
okay. Best and worst American president. I don't care. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say. Obama is the worst, isn't he?
Yeah, it's pretty. Oh no, Jimmy Carter.
He hated America.
No, Jimmy Carter is the worst. Jimmy Carter ran a shadow UN after his presidency, where he would actively negotiate behind the backs of the American president of de jure. He was a rampant anti-Semite, a really bad one. Really terrible, and he continued onto his into his 90s, continuing on with his, and this is the guy who did not fight back against the hostages, right, against the hostage taking. Okay. And every time the Americans had to go to their gas stations with their even and odd numbers to get their gas, because it was American weakness, and it was a very sad
time. Like Obama is not even good enough to be the worst. It's amazing.
No,
and he was actually trying.
But
he was trying.
I don't think that you can have Barack Obama without having Jimmy Carter. I think Jimmy Carter was he was
paving the way.
He was paving the way.
Degeneracy.
Yeah. And the best, I'm gonna say Jackson. Why not? The original populist, I suppose, American president. That was pretty inspirational character. But that would maybe be mine.
Perfect. Sounds good to me. No, I'm not gonna say mine. I don't.
Well, I mean, I just write my favorite one. I just write my favorite one. Love letters every night. Hi, how you doing? It's Alex. La la la. Thinking about you.
Aren't they dead though?
Oh, what is that? Come on.
I mean, it's just as realistic as if they were alive anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, depends on I don't know. Actually, no. I guess it is realistic if they are alive. Like I'm like like 2 people away from Trump, but maybe even 1 person away.
Trump is certainly entertaining and he's very interesting. Okay.
So I don't know if it's that hard, to be honest.
Extremely interesting person.
I guess the hard part is to write such a compelling letter that they would actually read it. That's the hard part.
Right. I mean, you could always put anthrax in it. You know, that would definitely get some attention.
And that for sure, like you would get attention, but they wouldn't read it. Would
yeah, but you know, at least you know you would get it. You would definitely get your name out there. You know, a little
unless
bit of anthrax.
if you get anthrax when
anyone.
it was like Jack's, I don't know when was he. How? Like if
We're
it
not
was
giving
like if you
anybody
go
any
enough back
ideas. We do not support this.
no, if
we
you
do not support
go back
anthrax.
enough in time, back enough like back go like you know far back enough in time before they knew what it is, then you could like
Yeah.
But it like it requires time travel, so I think it's hard, honestly. Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Actually, somebody's saying Trump is the closest to a Jewish president we've had. No, Joe Lieberman was the closest to a Jewish
he
president
is.
you ever had.
Who?
Joe Lieberman.
Who? When was
Joe
it?
Joe Lieberman. I mean, he was. I don't know what to say. He was.
But like, isn't like Trump is the first person? Like, but Trump is like, isn't it the first person who has an immediate family member who is Jewish?
No, I don't think so.
It is. Yeah, I think so. It said so in an article, and I believe articles without ever checking the facts.
Well, you know, I mean,
they must have checked everything.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's true because a lot of Jews marry into these, you know, political families. But the closest thing that the Americans ever had to, you know, a Jewish president was Joe Lieberman. May he rest in peace.
Okay, cool. Was it a good one? I didn't even know him.
Yeah. He wasn't a president. He was the closest thing. I mean, he ran for president. He didn't win, but he was really great. He was.
No, I didn't know him. Like, okay, so you mean the closest person, the closest that somebody got to being a president themselves.
Yeah, but he was a very beloved senator. He was also, I think, a candidate to be the vice president with not Mitt Romney. Who was the other one? McCain. He was also under the kind of he was also in the running. It was either Sarah Palin or Joe Lieberman, and he went with Sarah Palin. And yeah, but Joe Lieberman was also part of the discussion there, even though Joe Lieberman was a Democrat and McCain was a Republican. It's all covered in this really dumb movie that anybody can watch. It was pretty interesting. I can't quite remember what the name of the movie was, but it was like the story of Sarah Palin and that whole thing.
All right, amazing. Thank you. I got a lot of information now that I didn't know I need, but it's also always good to learn. Always good to learn. No, I'm just okay, you guys. I think I'm gonna call it a night. So thank you all for being here, and thank you, Alex. You should come more because it's fun. I'm gonna say bye to the audience, or we're gonna just cut it, and you're gonna ignore them. They're not here, like you know. Okay, we're ignoring them. All right. Good night, bye, people.
Bye, everybody. Thanks so